Hello, welcome to natemareflix. I am Nate, you are you, and I got two big warnings for you regarding this video right off the bat. One, if you have not seen David Fincher's Seven, then go and get. What are you even doing here? How did you find this video? I mean, I appreciate the view. Thank you for coming, but guys, do not let this video, do not let this guy spoil Seven for you. It is such a well-made film that will unnerve you and provoke thought, so you owe it to yourself to check it out before having it ruined by me. Second warning, it's going to be morbid, guys. This is not going to be a feel-good time because we are looking at each of the 7 deadly sins deaths depicted within Seven, and we're pretty much saying, hey, if I had to take on one of these deaths, which would I choose? In Seven, that spot, it's going to be the easiest death, the one we think that would be the most tolerable. One is going to be the death that we think would be the toughest to undergo, and we pray that we never have to encounter anything quite like it. That's what this list is, so you've been warned. Without further ado, here is my ranking of the Deaths of Seven. Seven is the Wrath death, which really sucks because it is the death that belongs to John Doe, the killer. I mean, not only is it the easiest and most painless, it's exactly what he wanted. It's what he was counting on. It brings all of his masterminding to fruition, and it cements him in serial killer history. It's what he wants. He wants to be known, and he wants Mills to put a bullet in his forehead, which is exactly what he gets. I mean, that death, I think we would all choose it because it's essentially like 1 second you're here, the next you're gone. 1 minute the lights are on, the next they're off. Flick of a switch, quick, painless, and easy. Number 6 is greed, and for greed you have to give John Doe a pound of flesh. Eli Gold chose to go with cutting his love handles off, and it didn't work out. The dude bled out, so he had to mutilate himself, cut off a pound of himself, and then he still ultimately died at the hands of his captor. Yeah, that's a bad way to go, but it gets way worse from here. And the reason this one is 6 is because there's more mutilation ahead. But this one, you have to do it. You have to actually cut off a part of your body or multiple parts until you get to a pound. And you have to do it in a way that you can both stomach and withstand without, passing out, fainting, or just dying from blood loss. So apparently you don't want to cut off a love handle. I would have thought that would have been safe, but I guess it's just too much. It's also just so much trauma for the body to take on. So what would be your strategy here? I'm thinking maybe if you cut off some toes, you cut off some fingers, maybe you lap off a piece of your butt cheek, you'll be all right. The thing is though, that you have to consider, as you cut stuff off, you're going to be losing blood. So you're going to be getting weaker and weaker. Your ability to really go through bone and such is going to be diminished as you go. So you need to take off a pound quick here, but you also got to be critical about where you do it because you don't want to sever any nerves, arteries, things like that. I don't know. I'm not a licensed physician or anything. I can't really speak on this, but I just feel like you could survive this one, but it's going to be a rough go. 5 is the death for pride, and for this one you literally have to have your nose cut off despite your face. Now John Doe is going to do it. You don't have to cut your nose off, but also the fact that you have an out. You can just down a bottle of sleeping pills and overdose, just like the woman in the film, should you choose to. But also, there is hope here with this one, and that's why it's not higher. You can survive this. If you choose to just live without a nose and have your appearance forever change, you can do that. John Doe will give you that out, but he's counting on you being like, I can't live this way, I need to overdose. So that's why it's not, higher on this list, because you ultimately could walk away from this one, just your life may be forever changed. But hey, if you have good people around you, you have friends and family that love you for you, they're going to be happy that you are around and that a serial killer ultimately didn't take your life. So they're still going to love you, even if your dating life and such may be a little bit different. Ultimately, you can still lead a happy life. 4 is the envy death, and we don't know a bunch about this one. We don't know what all went into it, but we know how it ends. It ends with Gwyneth Paltrow's head in a box, and that is awful. We know that John Doe coveted her, and he talks about wanting to play house with her, that he goes in, and so who knows what her final moments looked like. I doubt that he just broke in really quickly, he came up behind her, chloroformed her, and then cut her head off. I think that she went through a lot in her final moments. What does playing house entail? I do not know, but we know that John Doe is a sick son bitch, so I'm sure it was not a delightful little field day, and that is some of the best psychological horror in this movie when you put yourself in poor Mill's shoes when he's hearing John Doe say this and he's envisioning his wife in her home with this strange man coming in and playing house, and then now her head is resting in a box severed at the neck. I don't know what all went down with that one, but I'll take each of the aforementioned kills over this one. Gluttony is our next death, and you know, death by spaghetti sounds like some cutesy thing a restaurant may put on their menu for like never-ending pasta, but here you actually have death by spaghetti. You have to have your hands and feet bound as you are forcibly fed spaghetti to the point of retching and throwing it back up, you know, shitting your pants, all that stuff over and over until your stomach finally rips. Oh, and has a nice little cherry on top. John Doe, he's gonna also feed you scrapings from the floor, and you're gonna have to eat those. They may cut your stomach lining, all of that good stuff. I can't even wrap my head around what this would feel like. I mean, think about your body pretty much telling you, no, we physically cannot do any more. It is coming back up, and then you still have to be like, what? Put all that spaghetti back in, dying face first on a plate of spaghetti. I can't even really imagine this one, but I know the pain must be immense. And there has to be a good bit of psychological horror here too, because you're bound and you know you're not getting out. You know that you can't physically take on any more food, but what choice do you have? It's awful, and I have to imagine this death was gut-wrenching, quite literally. Second place is the lust death. This one, the first time I watched Seven, it really just stuck with me and haunted me. When you just see the image, they don't even show you the poor prostitute's body because they couldn't. I mean, the rating on this movie would be like an NC-17 or an X or something, I have to presume, because she is killed by a married man being put into this harness with like a bladed strap on that John Doe then makes the guy have sex with her while he's wearing this contraption. So basically her insides are just turned up and mutilated, shredded by the strap-on device, and I cannot imagine being on either side of this. I don't think that even if you survived it, like if you're the guy doing the actual thrusting, you're not gonna ever be the same. How can you ever look in the mirror? Think about the sights and sounds there. Think about having a gun in your mouth while you're doing this to this poor woman. It is awful. I mean, it is traumatizing even to kind of go there and visualize this stuff. I told you, I warned you we weren't going to have like a real good, happy-go-lucky Disney type of time. This one is rough. I can't imagine receiving that either, being gutted in that fashion. It's horrendous. It's dark. I don't know how somebody came up with this, but damn is it effective on screen that they don't have to show you everything. They simply show you the contraption and they show you how shaken the man is who had to perform the act, and that you can tell he's never going to be the same, and that is why this is number 2. Number 1 is the sloth death, which, real quick side note, that is one of the best jump scares in movies anywhere, anytime. But also just think about this death. That has to be an excruciating type of pain that just plays out over the course of a year. You are bedridden against your will. You are bound to your bed and given just enough fluid, just enough food to die, but you are wasting away where you lay. I mean, the lesions on this guy, the bed sores, they are like palpable. They're just radiating in color. Oh man, this death is so hard to watch. You're seeing a man who has been turned into a veritable zombie. He looks like the living dead. This looks like something out of some nightmare dreamscape that you never want to revisit. This looks like something from hell. And in fact, the coroner or the doctor, when talking about this individual, they say, hey, you know, this guy, he may be going to hell because of his past, but guess what? Hell's not gonna be able to show him anything new. What he's gone through in his last year of life is hell on earth. You look at that, you look at all the air fresheners on the ceiling and think about how his body is rotting. There's just jars of pee and feces everywhere. And like I said, like everything here, you're just being given just enough to live, no matter what you want, how badly you want to die. You know this guy wants to die and he just can't. John Doe is keeping him alive, and that is awful. You're trapped to your bed, but you're also trapped in your mind. Think about all the thoughts you'd have day in and day out of just wanting to get up, wanting to leave, wanting to be free of your captor. It's awful to be trapped in your own mind like that. I can't even imagine. This death, just on so many levels, is terrifying. It is horrific, and it is one of the most grisly in the movie when you see that body first kind of like reanimate almost. Like I said, it's like a zombie. That is definitely the worst death for me. Be sure to comment below which of the 7 deadly sins deaths you think would be the worst. Which one would you choose? Would you go with the wrath death? Because I gotta tell you, a bullet to the head seems way easier than the soft death I just detailed. But hey, if you enjoyed this video, thank you for checking it out. By all means, please subscribe. That would really, really help me. But other than that, you have a fantastic day. I'm Nate from natemareflix saying that's a wrap.